We're recording. Yay, we're live. Okay. All right, let's start. Thanks, you guys, for coming tonight. I just wanted to go really quickly. First, I wanted to say welcome to everybody. I'm glad you guys are here. I feel funny because I'm recording this. Welcome to everybody out there. But I appreciate you guys taking time out tonight for just to kind of explore a little bit more, deeper into the business side of Arbonne and all that kind of stuff. So as I'm going to go through this little Discover Arbonne presentation that somebody else made, and lots of people use it, so I like things to be duplicatable and simple, so I'm just going to take what they do and make it my own. So first of all, I was like, I never know if people are begged or bribed to come, but I'm glad you guys came. I was telling them earlier, in Tulsa, I always bribed people to come to the meetings because I was like, I want to have the most guests of anybody. And so I'd make it my goal to fill up a whole row, which was like 5 or 6 people. And so I'd bribe them to come with, whatever it took. So anyways, I really quickly wanted to tell you guys why I think most of you know my story in Arbonne, but I'll just go over it really quick, just to give you the rundown, why I'm doing this, what it means to me, and that kind of stuff. So I was first introduced to Arbonne almost 10 years ago when Kayla, our oldest, was a baby. And at that point, somebody gave us the baby products, and I was like, oh, thanks for that. And then I got a sample of their skincare line. I was like, I don't use skincare, but thanks. And I had never bought skincare in my life. That's a true story. But it was a free sample, so I was like, I'll try it, what the heck. And so within 3 days, my sister, my mother-in-law, and my husband all asked if I had been doing something different. I was like, oh, did I look that bad before? But the truth is that it really did make a difference, and I noticed it. And so I signed up as a consultant at that point simply to get the products at a discount. In the back of my mind, I was always like, you know what, someday I'm going to do this business, but I really just wanted to get the products cheaper was the deal. And so I did that for years, and over about 8 years, I watched a lot of my friends pick up the business and do it to the point that their husbands were retiring in their 30s. I was like, okay, really? If they can do this, I can do this. I mean, really, there's nothing different about them than there is me, except that they just made the decision to do it. And so, my initial fears and hesitation included things like, I don't have a lot of time. I mean, I homeschool, and I have a very busy 2-year-old. No, she's 3 now. Correction. She turned 3 this month. I was like, I don't have time to be running around delivering products and doing all this kind of stuff. I don't want to invest thousands of dollars into a business that I don't really know. I don't want to have a stock full of shelves full of stock. One of my big concerns when I moved here was I didn't know anybody. That was a year ago, and literally, I knew Summer, and she still won't host a party for me. My best friend. But yeah, I didn't know anybody here really. And then the other thing, I think really my biggest fear was I didn't want to be the scary Arbonne lady. I love people, I really do. I love people more than I love product. That's just the fact. And I didn't want to be in the grocery store and be the one that my friends were, hiding from because I'm trying to sell them something. And so I never wanted to be that person. But I will tell you that, if that's your heart, that you'll never become that person. I don't think you will. I've learned that to be true because I love people whether they do Arbonne or not, whether they use Arbonne or not, whether they even like Arbonne or not. I'm still their friend. So, but really, I think what really changed for me was I kind of felt the tug to pick up my business last January, and I was nervous, but what really kicked me in the rear was Jimmy and I sat down and had a heart-to-heart, and we had been married almost 10 years at that point, and he's always, done the same kind of work and things like that, and we were at a good place. He was working for himself, he was working from home, we were not, stressed financially or anything like that, but he sat down and said to me, I really don't want to complain, I'm thankful, but honestly, every time I sit down in front of my computer, I feel like my soul dies a little bit, and I was like, okay, we need to make a change because I don't believe that anybody was created to live like that. I just don't. If that's the way that you're feeling, then I think that, there's greatness inside and there's something in there that we're not touching on. And so I'm old enough to realize that if you want to change, you have to make a change. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So I'll just give you the numbers because sometimes that speaks to people, especially guys want to know if this is worth it or not. But last January, I picked up my business and my first paycheck was $200 for the month. Great. That was gas money for the Prius. Woohoo! Probably more than for the Prius, but. And then 1 year from then, this January, 2014, my paycheck was $1,400. And the last 2 months, it's been right around $3,000. 1 month it was over, and 1 month it was just nearly $3,000. So just in a year and a half, my business has grown a lot. We're on track to hit region before the year ends, which is huge. That's life-changing for our family. And I think the biggest thing for me to watch is, and you might be embarrassed by me saying this, but I watched Jimmy come alive like I've never seen him actually next week and is our 11th anniversary, but I've never seen him like that in the entire time that we've been dating and married. And for me, that is worth more than anything. I mean, so we've been able to dream again and to really, I don't know, start to live. And so it's big for us. So anyway, that's my story. I'm just going to go really quickly through the business side of things because that's why we're here. So Arbonne is, in case you don't know, which I think you guys do, but we'll tell you anyway. And for the people out there that might not know. Arbonne is a 35-year-old company. We have botanically based products. We're a Swiss company, which is huge. I don't know if you guys know European standards versus American standards, night and day difference. So our products are manufactured in the United States, but we have Swiss standards, European standards. We're hypoallergenic, dermatologist tested, vegan approved, eco-friendly. It's funny because Rachel was telling me the other day, she's like, well, I thought vegan was just like a nice little buzzword, but she went online and researched, and if you've never Googled rendering plants, as in like industrial plant, then go ahead and do that because you'll learn a lot. It's really quite alarming, to be honest, what is put into most of our products in America. There's really no regulation, so people can do anything they want, and it's natural, but it might not be beneficial for you. So there's no harmful chemical dyes, no mineral oil, no chemical fragrances. We don't do any animal testing. We have no animal products or byproducts at all in anything that Arbonne has. We're formulated without gluten, which is becoming a bigger and bigger issue for a lot of people. I was even shocked that I have 2 friends that have celiac, and they cannot use any other makeup except for Arbonne because there's gluten in makeup. Who knew? I didn't know. I mean, even in shampoo, they're like, you have no idea. You have to be so careful. You have to read everything. I'm like, why? But anyways, so we don't have any gluten. And I like that there's a great article that I read recently concerning where Arbonne is going. And I always like to encourage people that people are actually looking for this. They really are. And I've done lots of events in North Carolina now, and without fail, every single one of them, barely anybody has heard anything about Arbonne. So it is wide open territory right now. People are looking for clean and healthy and safe. They're looking for that. I mean, that's the market demand right now. And those are standards that Arbonne has always had from the very beginning. So I feel very confident offering that to people because it's not like we're just going with the trends and trying to be cool. We were cool before it was cool. So, okay, so let's talk for just a minute about network marketing. I have a business degree, and I didn't learn anything about network marketing in any of my college classes. So when I first heard about Arbonne and network marketing, I was like, that's a pyramid scheme. And which is a lot of people's first reactions. I mean, there's some stuff out there that kind of gave it a bad rap, but the more I dug in, and I really did the education because I wanted to know for myself, what is this about? I read books outside of Arbonne because I wanted to know. And so here's the deal with network marketing. Traditional retail, you have the manufacturer, you go through the wholesaler, the warehouser, the advertiser, the retailer, and then it gets to the consumer. So this consumer is paying for all those steps. So with network marketing, it's simply a different kind of distribution system. You get the manufacturer, which is Arbonne, and then it goes directly to usually the consultant, the consumer, right away. So there's very few times when I sell retail product. Usually it goes straight to the consumer from Arbonne. So we get to have a superior product and not have to pay for all that stuff. The money that we have goes back into our pockets and into developing a better product. So we eliminate the middleman. Okay, so as far as network marketing, this is a great article that was written by an outside source. This is recent. This is just a couple months ago, but they chose Arbonne to write about, and it's a great article if you want to look at it later, or if you need it, I can send it, post it. But basically what they're saying is they've never seen anything like this before. To have a company that has the stability of 35 years, to be in right now where the market demand is, and to be going where we're going, they expect that within the next 5 years, by 2020, Arbonne's going to have 500% growth. That's unheard of in the business world for a 35-year-old company, for somebody that old to have that kind of growth. So I've been around Arbonne for 10 years, but I will tell you that I have never seen what's happening like it is now. I mean, and I mean, people are hungry for this. They're looking. So if there was ever a good time to get in, this is a good time. So anyways, okay. Moving along, we have a simple system for success. It's very easy. Arbonne, well, I say easy. I mean, it's very simple. It's very simple. With Arbonne, you share product, you build a team, you earn income. Basically, you're building a network of consumers, people that are already using this kind of product. They're just changing their brand, and that's it. So you're sharing that, you get paid off of that. And I like to use this example. I used to work in a really nice restaurant in Tulsa. I loved it. The food was delicious and the chef was wonderful. But I recommended it all the time. And my friends came and ate there a lot. And I never got paid a single dime except for what I earned per hour in tips. I didn't get paid at all for my referrals. So with Arbonne, I get paid for all my referrals. So it's awesome. I'm like, it's great. So, we're results driven. People can test drive the products, usually at an event or a party, a group presentation. They get to try the stuff. If they like it, then they can purchase it. There's a 45-day guarantee, so there's no risk. And it's also internet driven, which I like that now. I mean, working smarter, not harder. I think it's brilliant, really. People get their own ID number, they shop online, and it comes direct to them. So, and then consider this too. We've only barely scratched the global surface. Right now we're in the UK, Canada, Australia, and then in October we're going to Poland. And then later this year we're going to Taiwan. So, I mean, we've barely even scratched the international surface, and we're still like only at 1% name recognition and growing like this. It's crazy. So, anyways, I love too that it's products that people are already using. I think I said that, but I think that's pretty powerful. You know, it's not like a newfangled little special drink or something that you're convincing somebody they should have. Most people take a shower. That's debatable if you're in Nashville, but I'm like, most people shower. Most people bathe their children anyway. Lots of women use cosmetics. Lots of people are using things like protein drinks and energy drinks on the market, protein shakes. Those are things that people are already using. And so, you know, if you wash your face, if you shave your face, for guys, or shave your head, you could use Arbonne. So, anyways, time leveraging. I just want to hit on that really quickly. It's pretty powerful. You know, I didn't quite get it until the last couple months when my business has started to kind of multiply. It's almost unbelievable to me when I look back and I think that a year ago when I moved here, I didn't know anybody. But like, I was working 10 hours a week last January when I made $200. I'm working 10 hours a week right now, and I'm making $3,000 for the month. So you leverage your time by teaching and training other people to do the same thing. And you know, sometimes people look at that and they're like, oh, it's a pyramid. But if you think about that, you know, corporate America is very pyramid-y. Like, there's one guy at the top, or girl, whatever, not whatever, politically correct. There's one person at the top, and you know, you can work your way to a certain place, but at some point, you know, that person doesn't want you to get their job, and so there's the glass ceiling. And so, and it can be a little bit cutthroat too. I mean, it really can be. I've worked out there too. So, but if you look at this, you know, everybody starts at the bottom. Everyone starts as a consultant. If you want to, you can work a business. And if you choose to, you can build that business and work your way to the top. And there is no limit to how many people are at the top. As many people that want to can be at the top. So, moving right along. Let's see. And I love, too, Arbonne has the 3 ways to shop. You know, you can shop as a client. I don't have very many people that shop retail, occasionally. But you can. You can shop as a preferred client. They make this, I like how they make this available for everyone. Preferred client, $20, 20% off all year. You get your own discount. It's like a Costco card, except that it's an Arbonne card. Or you can do it as a consultant. You get a bigger discount and you get paid for your referrals. So you have your choice, you know, and you get to make that choice. So, I always like to hand this out because I want people to know how much is possible with Arbonne. Seems a little unbelievable sometimes, but here you go. Go see it. It seems a little, we're looking at this here. It seems a little bit unbelievable at times, but I know people at these levels and they're my friends and they're just regular people that didn't quit. That's it. So, district managers average $200 to $1,000 a month. Area managers $1,000 to $3,000 a month. And at that point, your business can also be willed, which is pretty remarkable. I have never worked for a company that offered to still give me a paycheck when I wasn't around, which is great with Arbonne because you build that network of shoppers and that paycheck will go to my family as long as those people keep shopping, which I still have people that signed up to shop 10 years ago and they're still shopping. So there's good retention there. Regional vice president, $5,000 to $8,000 a month, and at that point you also get a cash bonus every month of $800 to pay for your Mercedes, which I think Jimmy's more excited than I am because then we'll have 2 cars. We don't have to share one. National vice presidents, they start at $10,000 a month, but there's no limit. You can make as much money as you want in Arbonne. As long as you keep sharing, you keep making money. So, anyways, I'll wrap it up here really quickly, but I really believe that, you know, this is really the right time. These are the right products. This is the right compensation plan. I have never seen any other compensation plan that even compared at all. Usually you have to have like so many legs or so many people or so complicated I can't even figure it out. But it's simple, you know, with Arbonne, you just keep sharing. And if you keep sharing and you don't quit, somebody said to me, or I think I heard it on training, and they were like, a national vice president is just a consultant that didn't quit. That's it. I mean, it maybe took them a year, it maybe took them 10 years, but they just didn't quit. They kept talking. And it's funny because when I first got into Arbonne, I heard a statistic from the Direct Selling Association. They said, if somebody joins a network marketing company and they stay in at least 10 years, then they'll reach the top. And I thought, I'm just going to stay in 10 years to see if that happens. And it will be my 10th year in March. And I'm on track to be at the top in March, which is pretty awesome. I'm like, oh my gosh. In 8 years, I didn't do anything except for tell a few friends. So I know, right? I'm a statistic. I fit in there. So anyways, I know, I tested it out, right? Along with all the products and everything. Okay. One last thing. There's a Harvard business professional, Dr. Charles King, and I read his report, but he talks about 4 key factors. This is the kind of stuff that I was interested in because I'm the business person. And I wanted to make sure that it all checked out. But there's 4 key factors that will guarantee a business's success. And one of them is consumable products, which basically makes sense, you know. If you sell something that has a lifetime guarantee, you're going to be working hard trying to sell stuff to a lot of people. You have consumable products, a marketplace demand, which is pretty obvious that we have that right now. People are looking for this. Timing and trends, which people are looking for freedom and they need more money. Like this is, you know, people are looking for that right now. And then the ability to leverage your time, which Arbonne also gives you that as well. We talked about that for a minute. But Arbonne satisfies all 4 of those. Most companies will satisfy 1 or 2, a good company, but Arbonne has all 4. So I think that's pretty powerful. Just to wrap it up, this is me talking from my heart for a minute. I like get onto my preaching stand. But I always feel like, I mean, the business stuff is great, and I looked into all of it. I mean, I researched everything. I've read books from all kinds of people. If you need suggestions, I can offer them. But this is something that really, it just went into funny screen. I got it. This is something that I looked at, you know, that I'm not really driven by stuff, and this is just me talking heart to heart. Like, the Mercedes, great. I'm not complaining. I'll take the free car. Brand new, I'll take it. But you know, that doesn't define me, who I am, and what I'm satisfied by. But what really does bring me, I almost kind of had a hang up with the money at first. I was like, you know, I don't need that much money, really. Like, I'm fine with my Prius. I love the Prius. I still do. But I started really thinking about that, and I was like, you know what, though? Somebody's going to make a lot of money out there. Somebody's going to. People do it all the time. Why not somebody that has a heart to do something good with it? And there's a quote, John Maxwell says, money in the hands of the right people is God in action. And I read that, and I was like, you know what? If someone's going to make a lot of money, why not me? Somebody that actually wants to do something good with it, you know? And to bless other people with it. And so I really believe that it's powerful to have the freedom to give. And we've always been taken care of. We haven't suffered much in that department for our own family, but we haven't always had the freedom to give. And this is the first time that we've really felt like we've had the freedom to give. And I feel like that's powerful, to have that freedom. So there's somebody that has the same presentation. They talk about, you know, change your brand, you change your life, and which is true. But I always like to take it one step further. So you change your brand, you know, you change to good products. That's great. You know, you're healthier, you're safe, your family's using better stuff. So in turn, you change your life. You know, you pick up the business, which is awesome. You know, you gain freedom, you become a better you. But I always like to take it one step further, that you get to change your world. And, you know, that's really priceless, because true fulfillment comes from serving other people, and this gives me a chance to do that every day. So, I just say that, I'm going to wrap it up, because you guys are worth it. You're worthy. I really, you know, somebody said that to me one time, like, you are worthy, and I was like, ooh. I don't know if I believed that at first, and now I'm like, you know what, I am. Like, God has great things for us. He really does. And I want to walk out that greatness, and I encourage you guys to do the same thing in your life. You know, whether that's, you know, being the best mom you can be, being the best teacher that you can be, being the best hospital worker that you can be, you know, whatever that looks like, you know, to really grab a hold of that and walk out that greatness. And I believe that it's in there, and I think that so much of the time we don't get told that ever, anywhere. I mean, our world doesn't tell us that most of the time. And so I love that I can do this, and I can tell people that because it's truth. So anyway, okay, I'm jumping off my preaching stand, and I wanted Jimmy to share for a couple of minutes.
Want me to go first?
Mm-hmm.
Mine's going to take a little bit of time.
That's okay. I'll have Jimmy share for just a minute,
Okay.
or a few minutes.
All right, I'm going to use the whiteboard a little bit. So, let me turn this way. So yesterday Bethany asked me to share again, and I was like, I don't have anything to share. For the last week or so, I've been pretty down, and I haven't told you that. And I was like, what am I going to share, you know? And so I started thinking about it, and it started coming to me, and I was up all night. I was up till like 3, and so I'm going to go into it, but today has been the best day I've had in a while. So when we had that talk last year about how I needed to make a change, I looked at where I was, and this is, you know, me now, and then I said, okay, I want to get up here, right, and future me. And this doesn't have to be specific. It was just I wanted something more than what I had right now. And I approached this in the context of circumstances, right? Like I don't like my job. You know, where we live in Tulsa, I don't really love it. What if we move? What if I can get a better job? et cetera, et cetera. So I was thinking in terms of circumstances, and I started a growth path last January. And for some reason, I always thought growth maybe looked like this, but now I have a different idea of that. So when we got here last year, and you and I, Michael, we had a conversation on the soccer field. I was at the top of that growth cycle, and so I had started a cycle, right? And the things we talked about then, I can't even fathom now, because we got here and I stopped being intentional about what I was doing. I guess I thought since we moved here, I changed my location, maybe I can take a break, and that cycle I started, going down. Which I now understand is normal. It's normal to have cycles like that. I didn't realize that then. However, instead of figuring out what I needed to do to start a new one, I kind of peaked for a while. And so this was me then. And I fell back into the old habits, right, that drove my life. I wasn't living with intention, and so I actually started. It felt like this, I mean, really. In hindsight, it wasn't that bad, but I dropped. And that led to a negative mindset, which spiraled me down even further. And I was so frustrated because I had made it here, I had grown, and now I felt like I've regressed from where I started, right? And so I started searching, I got here and I started searching for something. And one day I was sitting here in the office, what was it, maybe in October, and I got an email from a podcast that I used to listen to, and it said, hey, are you stuck in a rut? We have a Navy SEAL on the program. He's got some great info, why don't you listen to it? I was like, whatever, I'm bored here, it'll be nice to pass the time. So I started listening to it, and I heard this guy, and it drew me in, and that's important because it gave me a vision of who I could be, of where I wanted to go, right? So I went home and told Bethany about it. I sat there for like the first night. He had some free videos, and I watched them, and they were amazing. And actually seeing this guy and knowing that he's a bad dude, but he's so humble and so caring, and it was a draw, right? It's like, okay, I need to do this, but it was $100 a month. So I didn't do it for like 3 nights. And I finally said, okay, I gotta do it. And I'm trying to hurry. So I did it, I bought the program. I spent that weekend, because it's a 12-month program. So, lesson 1, you've got all this stuff you're supposed to read and videos you're supposed to watch. So let's get rid of this. So I started again. It was like, okay, this is me now. Now I have a plan, right? And I have some tools. He's provided me a plan and some tools, and so I'm gonna get here. And so I started that Monday, because I have a thing. I've always got to start on Monday, or I wait till the next Monday, which I need to get over. So I started on Monday, and I made it like 4 days, and I quit. And I quit because he's having you do things like sit and try and be mindful. And my mind was going crazy, and it was just painful to do. And I was like, and then after 4 days, I'm like, I don't feel any better. My development cycle, I'm still down here, and I still feel like I'm falling down. And, he's got this workout you do, and I go, and I can't even do the pull-ups. And so I quit. Because I was still in the idea of circumstances. I wanted to change. I thought to get here, I needed to be able to do 5 sets of 5 pull-ups, and if I couldn't do it, I failed. So I quit. I didn't even make it a week. And so that happened several times. I'd start, and I quit a few days, and finally in December, I took some time off. I took all December off. And I'm still doing this, and I'm feeling terrible. I didn't want to talk to anybody. It's like, okay, I've got to start this. So I started it again in December, and I made it 24 days. But it was the same thing. It was still based on me measuring the plan, measuring myself against the plan. Oh, it's so hard. Some days I do okay with the mindfulness, but some days I can't sit and not think. My mind's just going crazy. The workouts suck because I still can't do them. And so I quit again. And so I spent most of this year not doing terrible, but certainly wasn't growing. Just kind of, just, what is it called? Drifting, right? And so, because I didn't think it was working. So we went, so there's a situation this summer, and it's usually a difficult situation for me. And I think it was almost towards the end of it. One day I was sitting there and I was like, wait a minute, I've been great, I've been fine. This negativity around me has not affected me at all. I've been great. Usually it hits me immediately and I spiral. And I was like, what's going on? Maybe I have grown a little. And so I thought back and I was like, well, there's some things this guy talked about that I would do every once in a while when, the girls would get on my nerves. I'd be like, okay, let me do the box breathing. Let me check my mind and change, because I'm wanting to get to here, right? And it was the plan, but I didn't follow it day by day. And I was like, wait a minute, this is working, so I'm going to commit. So I'm on day 42 now. So the thing is, though, I was still measuring by the plan, even though when I started this time, I said, I purposefully said, and that's why I made it that far to day 36. It's like a 1 month plus 36. So I thought I'd do 36 because the physical plan is 36 days. And so I said, when I started, it doesn't matter if I can't do what he asked me to do. I'm going to show up every day, do my best, and that's it. And I'm just going to keep doing it. And so for 36 days, that was awesome. Well, on the 37th day, I woke up and I felt down again. I was like, what the heck? And so the last 4 or 5 days, I haven't talked to you, I really struggled with what is going on, right? Why? And the cool thing is, though, I still kept doing my things. And, this whole 4 or 5 days, I've just been going through the motions. It's been kind of meaningless. One of the things is you wake up and you write down what you're thankful for the day. And that morning I was like, well, I guess I'm thankful that I'm not dead, right? No chalk outline. I guess that's good. Whatever. And so everything I did, it was like that. I was just going through the motions. It was good that I still kept doing it. But then last night when she asked me to speak, I was thinking about it, and I saw a parallel between what I'm going through and what some of you might be going through or you might hit. That subconsciously, that 1 month switch over, okay, I'm done with 1 month, I should go to the next month. I didn't do it because I knew I wasn't ready, but then I felt like I failed again. And so I started thinking, and I was like, okay, me now and me in the future, this is not about circumstances. It's not about people, places, and things or anything like that. This is about who I am now, right? And if I don't like who I am now, or even if I'm fine, but I want to get someplace higher, I'm going to have to change who I am, right? And so to change who you are, you have to do, greatness is just small things done consistently over time. And so last night that fired me up again, and I said, you know what? I'm going to get here. I don't care if I have to do the 1 month lesson 6 months. I'm never going to quit. Every day I'm going to get up and do everything he says to do, and I'm going to do it to the best that I can. And it doesn't matter if I don't measure up to whatever this is, because I know I'll get there. And so the parallel, I think, for even me as I start Arbonne is, okay, let's say this future me, so let's say now I don't have enough money, or I'd like more money, right? I'd like Arbonne to give me another $3,000 a month, okay? For me, now I'm not going to put a time on this, right? I'm going to do because there's a plan that people have done that are making a lot of money now, and they just have done it, right? I'm going to look at what they've done, and I'm going to do it. And if my first check is not, if I don't get one, it doesn't matter. If my second month or my 6th month or my first year I'm only at $500, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to get up the next day and I'm going to make the calls or hand out the cards or whatever. Eventually I'm going to get here. And so I think the message is, and I know Bethany has mentioned some people that aren't here, if you have a goal, you can't, who you are didn't happen in 3 weeks or 3 months or a year. This happened probably over time of unintentional action. Action that you just took because that's just what it is. Somewhere along the line, I went to bed late and I get up late, so that's not what I do, right? So me here, if I want to get here, I have to be intentional every day. And me getting up at 6 a.m., it's not going to happen in the first month. I did well for a little bit, but I've fallen off. But it may take a year or two. I mean, I've been doing it for 15 years, so every morning I'm going to try and get up at 6 a.m. And that's just one of the things I want to do. I'm not going to stop till it becomes a habit, right? And so that's the first thing, is stop framing your goals in terms of circumstances. And Eric Thomas, he's a motivational speaker, he says, don't count the cost, right? So once you decide this is what I want, you don't count the cost, which means if your first paycheck comes and you're nowhere near that, it doesn't matter because you've already decided this is where you're going, okay? So don't count the cost of your goal. Decide that this is where I want to go, and that's how it's going to be, and I'm either going to get there or I'm going to die trying. I mean, I may die old, but so I'm trying to move. And then now knowing that this is not a circumstantial thing, me changing the clothes I wear or me changing the people I hang out with or the places I go, is not going to get me here. The only way I get here is if I change, if I become something different. To the point that my unintentional habits drive me this way instead of back down this way. So then the next thing, and this is for me, maybe not for you, but I have now come to understand that all growth is a cycle. And Les Brown talks about you're going to have good times and you're going to have bad. The only time growth happens is when things are bad, right? If I wake up in the morning and I feel awesome and I'm ready to do my stuff, that doesn't take growth, right? It's whatever. If I wake up and I feel terrible and I don't want to do anything, or I'm making calls and people don't want to schedule parties for me, that's where the opportunity for growth exists. And so, one, I recognize that now and I'm preparing for it. I'm preparing for the next down cycle because it's unrealistic to think that never happens. And now when I get to here, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to reach up, right? So if I get to a point in the SEAL Fit program where I'm really struggling, he's got a forum and I can reach out to him. He's gone where I want to go, and so that's where I want to reach out. I'm not going to call anybody down here. Not that they're not bad. They're just not going to give you anything that's going to be helpful. It's what they give you will actually pull you down. So once I get into my down cycle of my growth, I'm going to reach up, ask for help, and keep doing the stuff that I have in place that I know will eventually get me here, will eventually change me. So that last night, and then today was an awesome day. So that's what I have. So I think that parallels anything you want out of life, whether it's Arbonne or be a better husband, or I want to be a better husband, but I just snapped again, I should quit. Well, no, I just try again, right? So, okay, that's all I have.
Oh, I feel like I should go around. Awesome. I know when I asked him last night to share, he's like, I don't have anything to share. I was like, well, just think about it and it'll come to you if you're supposed to say something. This morning he's like, I was up all night. So, but anyways, I always like to hear when, I know you don't often share, but yes.
One more thing.
Get back up.
So this is so everybody here or everybody listening, if you or your spouse has decided that this is where you want to go with Arbonne, and Eric Thomas says this too, you have to be willing as a person to sacrifice who you are now for who you will become. As a family, you have to be willing to make sacrifices for where you're at as a family now for where you will become. And so You know, a perfect example is tonight, there's a group of guys I like to play basketball with, but I chose not to do that because I know when Bethany gets to her goal, our life's going to be awesome. So I'm willing to forego the basketball now, knowing then we can just hire, you know, a babysitter. You've got a meeting, I'd rather not go, I want to go play ball, let's hire a babysitter. Money's not even an issue, okay, great. Or one thing I love is football. I used to, you know, Thursday night, I watched a Thursday night game all day, Sunday, Saturday if there was college games on, Monday night. Now it's like, for where I want to go, I love the Denver Broncos, so I'm going to do one game a week because I want to sacrifice who I am now for who I will become. So I think that's an important part too. And, sorry, it's like we're all used to getting paychecks. You put in a certain amount of time and you get a certain amount. Like Bethany said, the same effort, you put in the same effort the first month and the second month and the third, and the first month you may not make anything. Second month it may be 100. Third month maybe it's 300. You can't look at what you're making and decide, I no longer want to make sacrifices. So you got to give it time.
Sorry.
I'll reach it. But anyways, I would like to hear what you have to say because he doesn't often spill it, but when he does, I always think it's really good. I do. Anyways, okay, really quickly, I just wanted the 3 people that went to Knoxville training just to give your little takeaway, if that's okay. And Melinda, you ready? There was a training 2 weekends ago in Knoxville, just a day training. It was Arbonne training, so these guys went.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've been in Arbonne for a little while now. So my first training was the big training in Vegas, thousands and thousands of people. And so this training was a bit smaller and a bit more personal, but I had a different perspective because I went with somebody who was brand new, and we talked on the way home and about the different things that we picked up, and we heard the same message, but being in a different place, you know, it meant different things. So the one thing that I picked up from was, because I guess I've been in around long enough to see a month's in and what that looks like, and I guess for a while, you know, you just think the days go by and then the month ends and it's this big celebration, then you realize the next month starts and you've got to start all over again. So now I've seen some good months and some not so good months. And at the beginning they talk about you come into Arbonne and you know why you're doing it, you've got your why. But the thing that I didn't realize is that your why changes as you change. I mean, exactly what Jimmy was saying, which was incredible and awesome, that you change as a person, so your why's change, and that's okay for that. And they also talk about the duplicatable process, which is what Bethany teaches everybody, and that is 8 parties a month. If you do 8 parties a month, that's a good growth indicator, or that's how you're going to progress. And one of the speakers at the training said, okay, if you're looking at the beginning of your month and you're not exactly sure where your head's at, and you're not exactly sure what you're doing, write down your 8 parties, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then write down your 8 whys. So you might not have 1 why anymore, but come up with 8 whys. And next to every number 1, you know, in your why, because I want to stay home with my kids. Then book your party date. Number 2, because I want to get away from my kids, and then book your party date, and so on. And so you have your 8 whys. You know, number 8, I want to get my white Mercedes, whatever it is. And if you don't book your parties, if you get to 5 and you think, okay, that's good enough, then it's in your face. It's written in your own handwriting on paper. Okay, well, then I'm going to sacrifice these 3 things. So my 6, 7, and 8. Then those things are not going to happen if I don't have my 8 parties on my calendar. And so that was the one thing that stuck out to me as something that I needed to remember.
Awesome.
Eric? Can I bring this one with me?
Yeah.
She came with me. She's my partner, man. That's right.
I know.
Wrong girl. Well, my name's Eric, and this is my wife, Amy, and we went to the Impact meeting. How long have we been with Arbonne? 3 weeks? Almost a month?
Month.
About a month. And I know we're definitely supposed to talk about the impact meeting, which was awesome, but I have to share real quick the life change that Arbonne has been for me. About 7 weeks ago, I came back from a vacation from work, and there were, honestly, in my opinion, the way that I feel like it was almost like the hand of God was in me and turned the key, and I had to push the accelerator. That's really honestly what I feel like. And from that point on, we at that point have just been kind of living a rat race our life. We have 2 wonderful younger kids, and it has just been kind of crazy energy drinks, unhealthy, just kind of a slave to the system. And there was just something in me that wanted better, a better life for the family, for myself. And I just, like, when I went back to work, I just started to get on water, which I never drank. It was always energy drinks at the galore. I think we supplied Red Bull and NOS or whatever for years and years, made a lot of money off of us. But I just definitely felt I needed something better, something way better. And so started drinking water, being healthy, and there's just something. I remember talking with our friends, Bethany and Jimmy. We knew that they were doing this thing called Arbonne. Kind of knew a little bit about it, but we knew that they had a lot of healthy stuff in there, and that's just kind of drove us to it. And I cannot tell you what the life change it has done for me, and I feel like with my family. I don't know if my wife can attest to that as well. I just feel like just the change in me in the past 7 weeks has just been awesome. And I don't want to give it up. I mean, it's one thing when you start feeling this way every day, it's just amazing, and you don't want to go back. And that's what I feel every day. So I just want to continue to go on and on. So I'll let you speak.
So for the Knoxville training, I went with him, and it's the whole thing of don't judge a book by its cover. And that's what we feel. We're always a team. So if we go into anything, it's always a team. So he's actually technically the consultant. Everyone, when they hear us, immediately look at me. So with that in mind, that just proves the point of course I'll support him, but he's technically the consultant, so you don't judge the book by a cover. And it's also good perspective, especially bringing into a team of a couple, is the fact that he can use the men's products and he knows the difference with that, and then he can talk to the spouses of people that you're talking to. So it's a good team effort with it, almost kind of like your tag team, but we won't tell them that. But also, we do the judge a book by its cover. Definitely, there's other cosmetic companies out there, and they say, well, supposedly, they sell this. They're already into something. That's not necessarily true. They may be looking at the nutrition aspect of the company, which I think is really important. We're definitely entered into nutrition, but we like the other products as well. So judging a book by its cover that they'll never get involved is something that you need to take out of your thought process, is that you need to list down people that you would like, and don't cross them out of, oh, they live over here and I'll never get together. The internet is what I'm based on, and you can Skype and you can Google Plus and you can do Hangouts and you can do everything virally. It's always good to sit down and across from someone, but don't let that be your only tool. Think about all the friends and family that you have that you want to share it with as well. But that was the biggest thing, is do not judge a book by its cover, because you never know. And you get into it and you put everything you ever want into a cart and you're like, oh, I need to book some presentations for sure. But also think about it as a slow way to kind of enter into some of the products, is as you're getting rid of other products in your household, just buy those products as you go along as well. And that kind of helps you transition in without having that panic attack. When, of course, I would be like, sold! You'd be like, you do need to pay that mortgage, you know that. So, but you can definitely go any direction you want, but you have to set goals, write them down. Even typing them out on the computer is great, but they need to be in your own handwriting, because if they're in your own handwriting, you've taken the time to take out a pen, just like sending postcards now. You've spent the time to do it, and then you go back to it. And from the training, one of them has a collage board that they've printed out. Well, I went to another conference for something completely non-Arbonne, and that's what they said was their biggest thing, was they have a board of everything they want to achieve, and they have it hanging up in their office. So every morning when they come in, they are looking at these pictures. So she's like, writing out didn't do it for me, but seeing the pictures really did it for me. So if you want to take the vacation next year as the cruise, then you put that little cruise ship out and pop it on there. So you just have to look at your goals, set the goals, and then get out there and start figuring out how you achieve those goals. And with Arbonne, they make it so easy, and they make it virtually, here's how you do it, and the things magically appear on Friday afternoon after I have bought them on Monday, and so that's nice, and you get excited every time you see that box. So, thank you. Anything else?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Like, this is like training. Team meeting number 2. Rachel, do you want to close us up? Or give you a little...
I think I'm going to close up the meeting.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I've been in Arbonne a grand total of 3 weeks, so like a veteran. Bethany was after me for about a year, not in a crazy, like scary, pushy way, but definitely like poking, like, you totally could do this. You'd be really good at this. I'm gonna still love you, but you could really do this. And so I joined mainly for financial reasons. My husband's having to work 2 jobs. He's in the ministry. It's just doesn't pay that much, but he has a passion for it. It's his heart. My goal is to alleviate some of the financial stress so that he doesn't have to work 2 jobs. So that's kind of why I joined. But getting into it and going to the Knoxville training just kind of opened my eyes to the culture of Arbonne and realized that it's a lot more than just earning a paycheck. And one of the ladies at the conference used an illustration about a tsunami, and she said that, you know, people think tsunamis are caused by some, like, you know, earth, you know, moving catastrophic thing, but tsunamis are actually caused by a 4-inch shift in the ocean floor. And I just, like, thought about that for a really long time, and I just felt like the Lord was saying, it doesn't take much. Like, how you see yourself, what you believe about yourself, what you believe that you're called to do, what you believe is inside of you, determines where you end up. And a small shift, if he can, like, expand your horizons, if he can help you to see yourself as more than you are, I mean, it might, like, look just small, but then over time and over generations, I mean, it can be massively different than where you started. And I was thinking about the scripture that says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And just praying and asking the Lord to help me realize, like, who he's called me to be and what he's called me to do, and not see myself, I mean, for years we've lived, like, just enough. And lately even it's not been quite enough. And we're working our tails off, and it's just not enough. And I don't want to live just enough. And I don't want that to be, like, my perception of who I am and what I'm capable of. And ministry doesn't just have to happen at a church. And so I feel like that I've actually been able to go into lots of homes and talk to lots of ladies, and I've reached out to a few friends who've lost their jobs, or just things that I wouldn't have really been able to encounter everybody like that. But I'm excited. I know that there's ups and downs in the growth patterns and all that, but I'm just excited that God is shifting my world a little bit, and I'm excited to see the impact, the generational impact that it's going to have on my family. So.
Awesome.
Okay, now that we all have been to church and back, hello. I'll just wrap it up. I was just going to close and do a little raffle so we can stop recording, but thanks, guys. I don't know how this happened.
They're probably